Welcome to the FanDuel Punch Out. I'm Jason Gilbert, Jacob11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Take a look at tonight's FanDuel slate.
Russell Cray.
Yeah, I couldn't get that one out.
Yes, Russell Cray. Let's get into pitcher here for a second. No, a catcher obviously leading us off. But yeah, no, to mention pitching, it's not too bad. There's some really bad arms on this slate, and the high-end pitching isn't too expensive. So we're pretty reasonable here in terms of paying up for batters. So there are some nice matchups we can take advantage of.
Yeah, a lot of mid-range guys you can build with and go balance with. Cole Hamels leaves you with 3,100 left over. So it's really doable to just kind of keep chugging through positions and just keep kind of knocking guys in that range.
Right.
So moving to catcher, and one guy that I'm looking at pretty heavily is Matt Wieters tonight. Really like him at 3,200. You look at Eric Johnson, 2.51 home runs per nine, allowed 378 WOBA to lefties. Camden Yards, I'm all over this Baltimore offense again. And I think overall this is a spot where you can look to get multiple ones in your lineup. And Wieters is kind of the one who kicks things off for me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. As we mentioned on DK, Wieters is kind of the guy we're looking at for cash and tournaments. Obviously priced more than Wilson Ramos on this slate, but 3,200 to 3K isn't really a big deal. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. And then Victor Martinez obviously is the game changer at catcher here, but I think I still like Wieters.
Yeah, I do too. Better ballpark, better matchup. Victor Martinez is kind of that swerve, as I think many kind of Tigers are here in this slate on FanDuel at their pricing, just because they are priced around a lot of other guys in better spots.
Yeah, definitely.
Digging down low, Derek Norris was a guy I was planning on looking at, but the pricing isn't really different enough for me to make a move. It'd be really contrarian, but I think you can kind of spin down and look at some other options.
Now, Kurt Suzuki's a big difference on DK. It's not as much of a difference here. Is that still someone you're looking at, or does the 600-700 difference between the top options kind of shift things away from him a little bit?
It kind of shifts things away. I mean, yeah, we were looking at DK. We're to the point it was about 1,500 difference. So
right.
It is a little bit different here. If I'm in between, maybe trying to get a guy, a Chris Davis, who I'm trying to work in instead of a Will Myers or a Jose Abreu, I might spin down in the GPP lineup. But overall, I think Wieters is the guy who I'm going to have plenty of shares with tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you for sure.
So, taking us to first base here, for me up top, it's Chris Davis. I mean, if I'm hitting over 4K, I know he's a little bit boomer bust, but obviously that big-time power in that ballpark against Johnson is something I want a ton of.
Well, it's really Will Myers at 3,800, but yes, for the over 4K guys, it's definitely Chris Davis. You gotta love that price, and you gotta love the upside there, especially with the home run power. But yeah, Will Myers, pleasant surprise at 3,800.
And now does that take Jose Abreu out of play for you?
Yeah, pretty much. I do like Abreu, but I'm not playing him over Myers for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Abreu. I think a lot of these guys outside of Frazier is really more so a White Sox stack. I like Frazier is kind of the only real one-off, and I'm with you. I like Myers a little bit more than Abreu there, and still even paying up just 600 more to Davis from Abreu is definitely worth it.
For sure. And I might YOLO it with a Prince Fielder share tonight. We'll see how I'm feeling about how I'm feeling. We'll see how I'm feeling about that as the day goes on. And sort of
what's that emotion? What's that feeling? What would you call it?
Oh, it's gonna be gluttony. I'm just gonna be eating pretzel sticks while I do that, and just
a very bland dinner for you while you sit there and watch Prince Fielder.
You know when you
with a single.
You know when you've eaten too many pretzels.
And you just don't.
Oh, you're missing out, dude. Sometimes you just gotta put them in there and roll with the punches. But anyway, you just feel really bloated and salty. So
that sounds like a rough life over there. Outside that,
Hmm.
I think first base is the spot to pay up for. I'm not a big fan of the upside of Gonzalez or a Hanley. Even though Hanley has the lefty matchup, he hasn't really been that tremendous power-wise this season. I don't mind him if you're trying to be contrarian still, because there is a decent upside chance against a lefty for Hanley. It's been a nice career track record for him, but
Yeah.
I don't find myself having a ton of shares.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you.
So overall, I think this is a spot where you kind of hedge up a little bit from that mid-range.
Mm-hmm.
Second base here, kind of a different story. I don't really like Cano as a chance here as being the top options. We were talking about quite a few guys that we like more. And kind of starting things off, I mean, Brian Dozier kicks things off against the lefty Adam Morgan. And,
Yes.
and you look at Dozier, and he's been absolutely on fire over the last 10 games. The price tag still really isn't that bad, and I think he's going to continue that success here against Morgan.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm crossing out Cano. I'm crossing out Murphy. What have I become?
A smart player.
At least getting there. But yeah, no, Brian Dozier, 3,500. You gotta love that. And as I mentioned, I like Odor at 34 with that Rangers grouping. Profar 3K. I like some of those guys as well. So I think that's kind of what the range I'm looking at. Schwoop is in a better price range where I'm more comfortable putting him in. Still not my top four. So FanDuel, that kind of changes things, but at least he's reasonable here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the problem with him is that I like Wieters, I like Davis, I like Jones, I like Trumbo. So those are my four that I plan on using. You can't work them in. You can work a scope into a lineup at 3,400. It's not a bad price tag, and you kind of do have a little bit of a log jam as far as guys in good spots there. And Profar really comes in as kind of that value at 3K, that mid-range guy that we've been talking about.
Yes, definitely the value there. Cesar Hernandez 2,100, depending on what goes on with the Phillies lineup construction there, but I definitely like that for 2,100.
Yeah, no, I mean, one guy I was kind of hoping would be a little bit cheaper is Brett Lowry at 2,900. I mean, he hasn't been really hitting that well lately. I mean, he's hitting 226, so I think the 2,900 price that kind of surprised me. I was kind of hoping him would be a little bit cheaper, but he's not really in play for me, even though he does have the lefty-righty matchup against Rodriguez, who real average. I mean, not really fond of him being a big successful guy tonight.
Right.
So
I'm with you.
Moving on to third base here, and you have Todd Frazier at 3,200. I like him a lot tonight against the lefty that we just talked about. Rodriguez hasn't really been that great, really inconsistent in that ballpark. Yes, Frazier's hitting 200, but 20 homers, that's the type of upside he has, especially in Southpaws. I'm all over him at that price.
Yeah, 3,200. There's just too much home run upside. I mean, one home run is pretty big from a guy you're getting at 3K, 3,200 range. So you definitely like that upside there. Beltre's more accurately priced here, not quite as good of a deal, but I still do like him. And I like him over Seager. I like him over Turner. He's probably my top guy tonight.
Mm-hmm. And this is a position I can also see myself spinning down in some lives because you do have a Trevor Plouffe at 2,500. Yanker Solarte at 2,500. Solarte was a guy you're not really on DK because of the price tag.
But here we are. Yeah, I'm back. I'm definitely in on him here. Very reasonable. Although Plouffe might take him out of play just because you got to like that matchup, you know?
Yeah, I do. And I think, I mean, you can make cases for both of them. I mean, the matchup is better for Plouffe. Ballpark is better for Solarte. I'm going to find myself with quite a few of both of them. And I think they're going to be working into some stacks as well from both sides.
That's a nice pay down position, in my opinion.
Yeah, and with that being said, it kind of takes my Cal Franco at 26 out of play. I like those guys who have been much more consistent. I mean, Franco's been, 2 homers in the last 10 games, but outside of that, a lot of 0 for 3, a lot of 0 for 4 games.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. So outside of that, I mean, not one you're really paying up for. You talked about Seager, Turner not really being options at that price.
Yeah, not perfect spots. And I mean, Longoria, not in a perfect spot either. So they are priced down a little bit. But on this type of slate, I think you can go value here and then bump up big at other spots.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Looking at shortstop here, and I'm not a big fan of Bogarts. I'm not a big fan of Seager's price tag or really Lindor. One guy that we liked a lot on DK was Eduardo Nunez at 3,300.
Yes.
Once again, picking on Morgan, got a leadoff guy. He's my
Yeah.
favorite option at shortstop.
Easily. With price considered, it's really not close for me. I love this Mets, or not Mets. God, the Mets, they're trash. I love this Twins. I love this Twins lineup tonight. I wrote them up in the stacking article. I just think this is a great matchup for all of them. So Nunez kind of leads it off. And I think he has super high floor tonight. So their cash game viable stack tonight, especially on FanDuel.
Yeah, I agree. And there's only really two shortstops I'm looking at, and Tim Anderson at 2,500 is a really nice pay down option as far as value goes. He's the only guy I would really spin down for, and I'm going to be mixing and matching both of them. So if I want that extra tier one player somewhere else, I'm going to pop down to Anderson from Nunez. I don't feel bad about it. Nice ballpark there at Fenway. A really average lefty on the mound, and Anderson has a decent track record. He's been showing that he can kind of hang in the big so far this year.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, if you throw a Plouffe and an Anderson in there, you're getting two really good matchups for 5K total. So that's a really nice sort of grouping there to make that Wieters easy to pay up for, make that, the Chris Davis easy to pay up for. So those are definitely two positions that make stacking expensive options relatively easy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if you are paying up for a Bogarts or Seager, it's just to be really contrarian. Points per dollar wise, they're not my favorites, as why I'm leaning towards Nunez and Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not because of the matchup that I'm completely fading them. It's just, I plan on spending up for a pitcher. Just more economical to kind of go in that route.
Right.
So moving on to outfield here, and we're looking at that Baltimore team. Adam Jones, 3,800. There are guys that kind of start things off for me in that matchup against Johnson. It's big time.
Yeah, I think that's I think those are the guys you're looking at trying to throw in there if you do go cheap, sort of at the shortstop and third base. So Adam Jones, Trumbo, Wieters, Chris Davis. I mean, I love the Orioles tonight, and I love the Twins too. So I think you can work those together in a nice little harmony there. So get your Orioles in there.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to definitely be a core of mine tonight. 3,500, Matt Campo, Dubo Herrera, both sitting there, really nice price tags. I like both of them. Camp's been hitting the ball really well. Uvalde has been completely opposite him. He's been horrible this season, in and out of the pen. Making this Padres team definitely a viable stacking option tonight in this ballpark. And Kemp's been reliable. Herrera's been reliable. Both those guys are great cash game guys for me at that price, and even GPP worthy.
Yeah, I like that call. Gregory Polanco, again, we talked about as sort of that contrarian lefty versus righty split type of play. Not out of the question, but want to keep him to tournaments. Robbie Grossman at 3K, gotta love that. So I think there's definitely quite a few options here. And Shin-Soo Choo, great splits for Straley. So I think that's a decent matchup to exploit there. Not against Straley, but against his handedness,
Yeah, I like him. I like him and Mazar at that price tag. As you mentioned, Polanco definitely intriguing, and Grossman too. Polanco just a GPP guy for me, and we talked about that as on DK as well. Their prices are kind of depreciated in this matchup, and you look at the Samardzija. I mean, he's not a complete guy to just shy away from either.
Right.
So overall, I mean, if you want to look cheap, I mean, you can look at a Byron Buxton who does have some stolen base upside at 2,600. Another really cheap Twins bat to get some exposure to. Obviously, hitting the bottom of the lineup, but if they break out for 7+ runs again, I mean, he's going to get his 4 at bats.
Definitely. And again, in that sort of range, I think there's some decent guys with upside. You look at Justin Upson versus Iwakuma. It's not terrible value, but I think there are other options, and I definitely want to pay up at outfield, I think, tonight.
Yeah, I do. I want to get one of those guys, one of those Adam Jones or Trumbo bets in. But I really don't have a problem with going with Grossman, a Chu, or a Mazzara type outfield for really a balanced lineup and kind of get those next tier guys in the infield too. So I think there's a variety of ranges you can go.
For sure.
So that's going to wrap things up here with the FanDuel Punch Out. Be sure to check out dailyfantasycafe.com for all our great tools and content.